Hello, this video is a short overview of how to set up a project in iNaturalist. This video is targeted towards teachers who are organizing a bioblitz for their class or their school and want to set up a project for that event. You'll want to make sure that you are logged in, that you have an account, and that the account has at least 50 observations associated with it. So if you are using a classroom account that you don't use that frequently, you'll want to make sure that you have enough observations. To set up the project, go to Community, and in the drop-down menu, click Projects, and then click on the Start a Project button on the page. Scrolling down, you'll see you have the option of setting up a collection project or umbrella project. For a bioblitz, you'll want to set up a collection project. I've curated other videos at this link, bit.ly iNat for Educators playlist, including a video on the difference between collection and umbrella projects. You'll need to set up the name because it is a required detail, and I'm going to call this the South Dakota Discovery Center BioBlitz. BioBlitz, September 2019. Again, collection versus umbrella project. Observation requirements. This is where you tell iNaturalist what data to include in the project. So if your project is focused on a particular type of organism like spiders or birds, you'll want to filter for the taxa. If you want a specific place, and you probably will, you will add the place. I'm setting up the South Dakota Discovery Center. Now, in the list of videos, there is setting up a place for your schoolyard, for your school bioblitz, so you'll want to check that out. Because if your bioblitz is on your school grounds or in a local park, it's probably not an established place within iNaturalist. So you'll have to go and set that up, unless perhaps somebody already has, like a previous educator at your school or a member of the community at a local park. You can leave this blank if it has not been set up yet. You can come back to that. Users, if your BioBlitz is really small, like just 1 or 2 classrooms and you're using classroom accounts, go ahead and add the users. You won't even need a place if that's the case. If your BioBlitz is larger with many users, many teachers, parents, older students, etc., that's probably a lot to filter by. So to make sure you capture everyone's data, leave it empty, because if you add users, only those users' data will be added to the project. Data quality. You'll notice that research and needs ID are already checked, and you'll want to leave them checked. Research grade observations are those that have 2 agreeing identifications to the observation. A needs ID observation is one where there's a suggested identification or multiple identifications that do not agree. All observations start out as needs ID, so you'll want to leave that so anything the students add will be in the project. Casual. Leave this unchecked. Casual refers to that data within iNaturalist that does not meet the minimum requirements for data quality. So if an observation has an identification of something, it doesn't even go as distinct as plant versus animal, that is a casual observation. A human is a casual observation. So if you have a student who is going to add their classmates as part of the bioblitz and identify them as human, those observations will not be added to the project. Media type, you can decide if you want to require a sound file or a photo or both. Establishment means you can decide if you want native or introduced species only. I suggest both. Date observed. If your bioblitz is happening on a specific date, click exact and enter the date. Otherwise, use a range. If you have multiple classes participating, you'll probably need a good amount of time for them all to participate and submit their data. I'm setting up my project for the entire month of September of this year. Now, I've set the range as the entire month here instead of selecting months down here, because when you select months, that selects September and it selects all the Septembers. It doesn't select just September 2019. So to focus the data to just the dates of the bioblitz, you'll want the date range instead of the month. If you are setting up your project after the bioblitz has occurred, you can go ahead and preview your observations. If you're setting up your project before the bioblitz has occurred, you will not have any data to pull in. Admins, you will be an admin because you are setting up the project, but you can also add other teachers or parents as long as you have their iNaturalist account name. Once you're done, click Done, and that will bring up the project. Since I've already submitted data in September, you can see the data is displayed. If you need to go back and edit the project, you clicked on Edit Project, and you can go back and change anything you need to. That's particularly handy if you set up the project and then wanted to go add the place. Once you've made your changes, again, you click Done, and your changes are added. If you have any questions, or if you have other ideas about setting up projects, please let me know. Until then, happy exploring!